In part one, we explored how fear and uncertainty shape the search for a suspect in the Delphi murders, but what happens after an arrest, when the community's need for closure meets the messy reality of justice? If Richard Allen is innocent, this next chapter tells us something deeper about how societies manage truth when it doesn't fit the story they've already told. Once a suspect is named, a powerful psychological source kicks in, confirmation bias. People seek information that supports what they already believe and reject anything that challenges it. For some in Delphi, the arrest was a relief, finally a name and a face, but for others it raised more questions than answers. From a sociological view, this is what Emile Durkheim called collective reassurance, which is the act of finding comfort in unity, even when that unity rests on uncertain ground. When a community collectively believes we caught the killer, any doubt can feel like betrayal. In today's media ecosystem, stories don't evolve, they echo. Every article, podcast, YouTube analysis amplifies certain narratives. If the initial frame was Richard Allen as the suspect, that framing shapes how every new fact is interpreted. Sociologist Howard Becker calls this labeling theory. Once someone is labelled deviant or criminal, society sees all their actions through that lens. Even if proven innocent later, the label often sticks. In the eyes of the public, innocence very rarely trends. The Delphi case also reveals what happens when institutional trust breaks down. Sociologist Max Weber described modern society as built on rational legal authority. We trust systems because they follow rules and procedures. But when those systems appeared flawed, that trust can dissolve. If Richard Allen didn't commit this crime, then the arrest becomes more than a mistake. It becomes a symbol of structural failure. And in small towns, that loss of faith does not stay abstract, it becomes personal. We often think trauma belongs to victims' families, and yes, it does. But communities themselves can experience collective trauma. When a case like Delphi divides friends and families and neighbours, people start living in emotional camps, those who believe and those who doubt. And that polarisation doesn't heal, especially when it lingers, shaping local politics, policing, and how people talk about safety and justice. In that sense, if Allen is innocent, he's not the only one whose life was changed, the entire social fabric was. The Delphi case shows us something larger than itself. It's about how digital age justice unfolds in hashtags, headlines, and human emotion. It's about how information overload makes it harder to tell the fact from narrative. And it's about how, in our hunger for closure, we sometimes mistake certainty for truth. If we learn anything from this story, it's that justice isn't just a legal process, it's a social one. It's built on trust, empathy, and the courage to question our own assumptions. If Richard Allen is innocent, then the Delphi case becomes more than a tragedy. It becomes a mirror, reflecting how fear can shape truth and how truth can struggle to survive once fear takes hold. Justice isn't only about finding who's guilty, it's also about protecting those who aren't. And justice is more than a verdict, it's a reflection of who we are.